What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and what a fickle game football is. You know what I mean? Like, before the game, if you had said we're going to tie today, I would have been like, you know what? That's not a bad result. It's not the best result, but it's not bad. It's only 2 points instead of three dropped, so whatever. It's fine. If you would have told me after our first goal that we were going to tie today, I'd be like, we better not tie today. No, if we give this game away right now, I'll be extremely pissed. I will not take it. And then after they scored, if you told me we would have tied, I'd be like, you know what? If we can get through this game somehow and not give it away, that's fine. I do. It feels like we're about to lose right now, so I really hope we're not on that track. I hope we can see it through, finish with a tie, and then, yeah, the fact that we tied, I'm actually pissed about it because of a certain other incident. Because let's talk about it. So, first of all, I do want to throw out there that yes, this tie ends up being a good result because it means none of the top teams picked up any points on the other today. I mean, we tied Liverpool, so both of us dropped 2 points. Tottenham tied Sunderland, so they dropped 2 points. And so no top teams pick up. Oh, right, there's another one. Or something. Apparently they lost today, which not surprising, but they're considered a top team because they're in the top five. So I guess we'll call them a top team for now. But anyway, yeah. So on to the game. Just talk about the moments first, because after the goal, which was brilliant play by David Luiz, great finish, great shot, great setup for it all. After that, it felt like we were kind of in control for a little bit. For the rest of the half, we just had control of the game. Even though Liverpool were pressing really high, they were doing everything they could. We were doing our best to kind of keep them at bay. We get into the second half, individual mistake by Moses. Just for some reason we still don't understand that teams have figured out our weakness. That cross from the right side, because Cahill and Alonso don't close it down. Cross from the right side to our backside, where we have Victor Moses and Cesar Spilicueta, who are our shortest players on the team. That's our weakness. And yet, for some reason, we still don't have any help back there for Spilicueta or Moses, and we're still not having Cahill or Alonso step two, so they're still just letting the cross come in like it's no big deal. So cross comes in, Moses doesn't track Milner, he tries to overcompensate, Milner crosses it in, he ends up heading it right into Wijnaldum's path, who just heads it in easily for a goal. So, it's frustrating, but after this, that's when Liverpool really decided we're here to play. We are here to win. We're here to show that the past three home losses that we've had, those were all flukes. We are not done and out of this. And so they were just taking it to us. It felt like they were going to get a goal. Like all the pressure they were putting on us every time they were coming down the field, it was fast tempo. It was pretty much why Liverpool fans are so excited this season, because that's how they play. They play very quick on the counterattack, and it's exciting to watch if you're not the team being attacked by them. So it honestly felt like we were going to give up a goal, but then it all sort of changed after the penalty. The penalty happens, Costa, good turn on Matip. Matip sticks out a leg, hits his knee, Costa goes over, penalty. Okay. That's fine. Now we can go 2-1 up, just step up Hazard, take it, put it away. Only problem, Hazard was subbed off. And I'll talk about the sub in a second, but huge mistake. So Costa steps up, and one of my dad's favorite rules, and I've seen it time and time again, the person who gets fouled doesn't take the PK for him, and for good reason. If you get fouled intentionally, that anger and frustration of getting fouled is running through your head, you miss your PK. Or if you want to be like, I got this, so I earned it, and you want to show everybody else up, you miss your PK. In this case, it just turned out to be Costa didn't really hit it very well. Kind of passed it towards the right corner instead of putting power behind it, and it gave Mignolet enough time to get down onto it, even though it was in the corner. So, very poor PK, but then after that, that's when it felt like the tables kind of turned, and now Chelsea, I don't know, it was almost like Liverpool relaxed because they were relieved they didn't give up that goal. And maybe it was the worry of, holy crap, we nearly just lost the game. They decided to sit back and keep the tie. But the rest of the game was just Chelsea putting a ton of pressure on their back line. Probably should have scored one after the fact. I mean, so many chances just went begging because we couldn't seem to find that final Either found the final pass, but nobody was there to make the run on the end of it, or they didn't find the final pass and they lost it, or they had a shot that shouldn't have been had and missed it. And so yeah, all in all, I mean, it's disappointing the fact. It's not disappointing the fact that we tied because, in the grand scheme of things, unless Man City win tomorrow, which even if they do, it still doesn't mean a whole lot. So in the grand scheme of things, yes, the tie doesn't matter, but it's how we tied that's the most frustrating in my opinion. The fact that we had a chance to win the game, the fact that we weathered the storm of Liverpool trying to get that winning goal and we held them to it. We didn't let them have it. And then we have a chance to win the game and then we don't. And then we have more chance to win the game and then we don't. And so a tie just is kind of disappointing whenever you're watching the game without thinking about the whole context of it. So, yeah, that's my opinion on the game as a whole. Look at Conte's decisions, Antonio Conte. In my opinion, not a bad lineup. You know, you've got pretty much the same team he puts out, which isn't surprising to me. You know, a couple of players did impress in the game against Brentford, but in my opinion, because it was so soon, I don't expect to see any of those players back on the field or getting a whole lot of time. So I kind of figured this was going to be the lineup, except for one, which I do agree with, Willian in over Pedro. Mainly because Liverpool were at their place, they like to attack, and Willian is a counter-attacking player. So putting him on the field does make sense over Pedro, who is more that creative player you want to put on to make the quick 1-2 passes if somebody's sitting back on you. So I don't mind that change at all. I don't mind his lineup at all. But get into the second half, and the first sub to come off, Hazard, Pedro goes on. Now, I'm not going to say Hazard had a great game, because he didn't. In fact, he barely had an average game. But whenever he was on the ball, he was doing enough to cement the fact that he deserves to be out there. You know, if anyone was going to create anything, it felt like Hazard was going to pop up in that one moment and just have a moment of brilliance like he does and just find a goal. So I just don't understand why. You know, maybe he was looking tired. Maybe he said something to Conte and Conte saw that and wanted him off. I don't know, but in my opinion, even if Hazard wasn't having a good game, Willian wasn't either. Like I said, I didn't mind seeing Willian out there for the counterattacking aspect. He didn't do any of that. He never used his speed to his full potential. And even what he's also known for, which is working hard to win the ball back, he didn't even really do that very well. In my opinion, he's not the only one that had a bad game today, but he probably had one of his worst games at Chelsea. Like, just very ineffective today. I really thought, we have Hazard and Costa up top. We have Pedro running in, just running around trying to win the ball back with them. I think that's a good front three to have right now, especially because Liverpool's defense is looking so shaky. And then on top of that, the penalty just sort of compounded the fact that Hazard still should have been out there to take the penalty. So all of it just sort of mixed together to make me really frustrated that for some reason Hazard came off early. So, and it's not just because Hazard's on my fantasy team, if anybody is wondering that. But no, in my opinion, it really didn't make a whole lot of sense to take Hazard off over Willian. If you were going to take him off, I'd say take him off together, but Hazard first didn't make much sense, especially because we do kind of want to win. It's very dangerous coming to Anfield and trying to attack them because they can hit you so quickly on the counterattack. But if you have the chance to win, why not go for it? Why not really just stick it to them and kind of just push aside everybody who's like, oh no, you still have a chance to give up the lead at the title. You still have a chance for the other teams to step in and take over. This would be the perfect way to say, no, they don't. And go and win at Anfield, get 3 points on them, and then bam, we're flying high, 13 points above Liverpool. We would be 11 points ahead of second place and facing second place on Sunday or Saturday. So, yeah, in my opinion, mistake for Hazard. But the second one was Willian off, and Fabregas came on, and I like that change. So didn't like the first change. The second change makes a lot of sense. Fabregas comes on. He's such a calming presence in the midfield, and even other people started to notice it too. Arlo White, the commentator, was saying, he's so calm in the midfield, and he just sort of takes a sting out of Liverpool's attack, and he really does. As soon as he gets on the ball, it's like he makes one pass, and then all of a sudden it's just over. Like all the Liverpool pressing, all the intensity, it was like, oh no, is Liverpool gonna win it back? Fabregas gets on the ball, it's calm, we're good. I really hope he starts the game against Arsenal, but I'll talk about that later. So, in my opinion, he really came on and sort of changed everything. It felt like at that point we just started to take over the game and started to have chance after chance after chance. And Liverpool had a couple of chances on the counterattack, but they didn't look nearly as dangerous as whenever they were attacking right after their first goal. Their only goal. And then there was one more Batshuayi just to waste some time and get through the game. So, overall, I would say while I'm disappointed with the Hazard change, I'm still not disappointed overall with the game as far as Conte is concerned. I think he did okay managing the game. Maybe just a couple of choices could have led to possibly a win instead of a tie. I say that it may have actually led to a loss. Who knows? But it's just my opinion. I think that would have been a better choice. As far as the individuals go, Courtois played pretty well. Didn't have a whole lot to do. There were only a few shots on goal today, and obviously the header was one that I'm pretty sure he was inside the 6-yard box, so trying to get down on a header that's headed straight down under you, trying to get down from that height as well. There's not a whole lot he could do about that. Maybe he could have, if he had read it a bit better, maybe he could have stuck out a foot to save it, but in my opinion, it was one of those that just he did everything he could to get down to it, just didn't get down fast enough. So it was disappointing for that. But the rest of it, made some good saves. Had a couple times where he had to come out and collect it over people. So I would say he did okay. He didn't do anything spectacular, but he does well in the goal. I think he just provides that sort of assurance that even if they do get through the defense, Courtois still got a good chance of saving it. Into the defense, starting with Azpilicueta, had a pretty good game. Didn't do as much as I normally see him do as far as making the challenges and stopping the play, but overall he still did a whole lot defensively. He just he's just a threat to the attackers. Anytime they're on the ball, Azpilicueta's there putting pressure on him, never letting him have a clear moment in our defensive third. So yeah, I just really enjoy having him out there. He's just like having Courtois in goal. It's like, okay, we've got Azpilicueta on the field. I feel safe right now. David Luiz played pretty well today. I was a bit concerned when he had that injury just because for most other players, when they get an injury, it's like, okay, well, it's just a little knock. They'll run it off. But when it's your defender that has an injury, it's kind of concerning, especially because he's had that leg wrapped for a while. And so seeing him go down holding it, it's kind of like, did he aggravate it more? Are we sure we want to put him back out there considering how well he's playing right now? Do we want to risk, him causing a mistake or something? But he did well. Very solid defensively. He put in a lot of really good challenges in the air, on the ground. He really has stepped up this season as that center defender. He's done so well in that position, and just I didn't expect. I don't think anybody suspected him to do this well, but it's just really astounding for me to look at him and be like, I'm glad he's in the team. When at the beginning of the season when I saw we got him, I'm like, oh no, headaches galore. But it turns out he's doing very well, and even after the injury, he still continued to do very well, just providing a lot of pressure on the front three of Liverpool and never letting them have a moment to rest. They always had to be moving the ball whenever he was around. And then the final defender, who you all know I'm going to complain about him because he just upsets me to no end, Gary Cahill. In my opinion, the first half actually was not bad for him. It's the second half near the end, especially near the end, whenever we just gave up a goal, and so Liverpool are attacking us, and then even after that, when we have a chance to go on and win it, there are just these decisions that he makes that frustrates me whenever he's on the ball. Defensively, he does fairly okay. He puts in some good challenges. A couple times he does make a mistake here and there, but today it didn't really show as much. On the ball decisions, though, today for him were terrible. Just giving the ball away, kicking it away to a defender, or trying to dribble and then losing it. Last seconds of the game, he has a chance to possibly send in the ball for one final attack, one more chance for Costa to go attack it, and then he tries to dribble and loses it out to Wijnaldum. So it's like, why can't you make better decisions on the ball? Honestly, that's where his mistakes come from the most, is whenever he's trying to do something on the ball. He's trying to dribble, he's trying to do some sort of pass, and he gives it away. I don't understand why this is still an issue. This was an issue back in, when was that? What was it? September when we lost? Yeah, it was September. September. When we tied Swansea because he gave away the goal, we lost to Liverpool because he was poor defensively, and then we lost to Arsenal because he gave away the goal early on. This was a problem back then, months ago, and we're still talking about it because I don't understand. I don't know why he can't seem to get it through his thick skull that he's not a dribbler. He's not a player who's going to dribble somebody. He's not somebody who's going to send that diagonal pass like David Luiz or John Terry. He's not that player. He's a very simple player. He defends pretty well, and he gets the ball back. He should just pass it off very calmly, not slow like he does. Just the ball's rolling and he just do as the player's coming running at him. Not like that, but calm as in like, okay, I'm here, no problem, I pass it off. That's it. But it's always a headache with him. It's always like I'm freaking out because it feels like any moment he's just going to make a terrible pass or he's going to dwell on the ball too long, give it away, and now all of a sudden, here's a chance at goal for Liverpool. So that was my rant. I'm done with that one. On to my other rant. Marcos Alonso really cementing the fact that Ake's probably going to be in the team soon. I mean, if not in Cahill's spot, then probably going to be out wide because, God, he was terrible today. Just, I don't know what it was, but it felt like he just couldn't make a decision. Now, maybe, I'm saying this, maybe he didn't have a whole lot of options. Maybe Hazard and Costa weren't moving enough for him, which, they weren't moving a whole lot today, so I can't 100% say that Alonso was 100% to blame for his issues, but you're a wingback, which means you've got the ball in the defense. The last thing you should do is lose it there. If you're going to lose it by kicking it down the line. That's fine. Kick it out of bounds, something like that. Just don't give the ball away, and then now they're attacking you. And it felt like he did that 3 or 4 times, and that's too much for a player in his position. Like 3 or 4 times are 3 or 4 chances on goal. So it just seemed like he was far too loose in possession. Defensively, he actually did okay today, so that part of his game wasn't too bad. But that's not what I have him out there for. That's not what I think of whenever I think Marcos Alonso. I don't think, oh yeah, good defender. No, I think he's good on the ball. He makes some great crosses. He moves the ball around pretty well. Defensively, he sometimes has issues, but that's not what I expect him to be out there for. And honestly, that's why I think Ake would be better suited to taking Gary Cahill's spot, because we need a better defender there, not where Alonso is. But yeah, really disappointed with Alonso today. Just, in my opinion, the worst player award can be between Alonso and Cahill, because they were both pretty terrible today. Even though they didn't have anything to do with the goal, it still feels like they were a lot of our headaches whenever it came to giving the ball away and Liverpool having a chance on us. The other wingback, Moses, even though it was his fault for the goal, he did a lot going forward. And contrary to Alonso, that is what I expect from him. That is exactly what I expect from him. Just to constantly put the defense under pressure, under a lot of threat. And so, I'm not, even though he did make some defensive mistakes, I'm not as upset with him because he's still learning that spot. This is his first year playing here. The fact that he's done so well is kind of astounding. And so whenever he does make mistakes like that, it's just kind of like frustrated, but I understand you're still learning, whereas Alonso and Cahill have both played positions like that before. They know better. They know better than to dwell on the ball. They know that that stuff is simple. What Moses is doing, the mistakes he makes at times, sometimes it's stuff that defenders should know, but he's not a defender. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully he can learn from these mistakes, because this is 2 games within 4 days, or not 4 days, 2 games out of 4 recently that he's had mistakes like this. The Tottenham game let Dele Alli go. Now this one he let Milner go for the goal. So, but going forward, that's what he was really good doing today. He just flying up and down the field, just really getting up there, doing everything he can, trying to get a cross in. So he did well there, just disappointing on the goal. Conte and Matic both played well, But Conte, for me, gets man of the match just because, holy cow, was he everywhere today. And he always does this, so it shouldn't come as a surprise. But for some reason, when it's against Liverpool, when it's against a team like this, it's so much more obvious. I mean, holy cow, he just gives the ball away, he's there. He's putting pressure. They pass it off, he's there. He's putting pressure on that player. They pass it over here, he's there. He's putting pressure there. He's all over the field, and it's just amazing to see the energy that he puts out there. So, yeah, he have issues? His passes at times are going astray. That's the only issue he has. And if you've got Matic or Fabregas out there, most of the time they do well in the passing, so I don't expect him to be that passer. Now, he does need to work on his simple passing because those are the ones that he needs to stop giving to the other team. If it's, from here to, 10 yards that way, that should be a pass that you complete. And sometimes he used to do it quite a bit earlier on, but recently it's been cut out of his game a bit more, but there were, I think, 2 times today where he did that. So I think his work effort is enough to justify the fact that he's on the field, even though he does make those mistakes from time to time. I couldn't imagine any other player out there. And look at Leicester, look at us. That kind of shows what's going on. Matic, though, not to be outdone, he did put in a lot of good challenges today. My problem with him is, though, that there are times when he just seems a little bit too naive, and so the ball is out wide, and for some reason he'll go charging out there, and they'll play it inside, and he doesn't do enough to really get back in. It's kind of on a little jog. Now, granted, if I had Conte in there with me too, I'd be like, okay, he's got it, but that's not what I expect out of Matic. I expect Matic to get back in and help defensively, so there were just a few times that he did that. It wasn't like a highlight of his game or anything, but he did well on the pressure. He put in some really good challenges, so I was happy with him today. Going up top, like I said, Hazard, Costa, Willian, all a little bit disappointing today. Willian definitely had a pretty poor game by his standards. Hazard, like I said, it felt like there was going to be a moment where he would turn it on and cause some sort of trouble that led to a goal. Because even though he didn't do as much as he normally does, there's still those moments that you can see whenever he gets on the ball and all of a sudden he turns somebody and he's gone. That it's just like, okay, this is the Hazard I know. I need more of this. And so I'm waiting for more of this, and unfortunately I didn't get it today. It felt like that one moment happened. I'm like, yes, he's getting into it, and then I have to wait like 15 minutes for the next moment. So it was kind of disappointing from him, but even more disappointing that he didn't get that chance later on in the game to do something, some sort of brilliant moment to really seal the game away. Probably could have scored the PK. Costa, even though he missed the PK and was disappointing as far as creating chances, he did work really hard today. So it's like, it's very hard for me to complain about him because even though there were issues, there's a lot of effort from him today. I mean, the effort to close down, the effort to put in a challenge, the effort to win the ball and keep it, all of that was really good. But he missed a penalty that he probably should have scored easily, and he didn't really do enough off the ball whenever we had it. The work was there when he had the ball or whenever they had the ball. He was putting pressure on him, but when we have the ball, that's when he needs to be working. That's when he needs to be making those runs, and he wasn't today. He was kind of stagnant whenever we had the ball and then working really hard every other moment. So it was kind of bizarre, but, it's so hard to complain about somebody who always feels like he has a chance to score. Always feels like he's going to do something that's going to lead to a goal at some point. And that's why I find it hard to criticize Hazard, because both of them just have that edge to their game that feels like there's something special here. They could probably take this game on their own and do something about it. Unfortunately, today wasn't one of those days, but it was still okay. Still a decent game for both of them. Poor by their standards, but not terrible, like Willian's standards. On to the subs. Pedro comes on, and he's the one who started the revival back into the game for Chelsea. Because when he came on, it was like the past 10 minutes had been all Liverpool after their goal. Like they just constant pressure, like I said. So when he came on, it was like a different aspect to it. He comes on and then all of a sudden he's got the ball more often. Or they're playing around in the defense while Pedro's chasing the entire time. He's got so much speed to it that it feels like he might be able to nick it and put it away. And that extra pressure led to some giveaways that I think started to push the flow into Chelsea's favor. And then, like I said, Fabregas comes on, and that's whenever it's fully in our favor because he knows how to calm the game down. He knows how to pick up the ball and keep possession for us. Really should have had a couple assists. I mean, some of his balls in for Costa, Pedro, and I think the other one was for Willie. No, not William. William came off for him. I think he played one to Alonso that was pretty good. But I mean, he does so well on the ball that I really wish he'd feature more often. Hopefully, he does play against Arsenal. I would like us to really take it to him. And I think Fabregas can be that player that sort of finds that really killer through ball that can cut Arsenal's defense apart and help us go on and win the game easily. So, love seeing Fabregas out there. And that's about it for individuals. Obviously, Batshuayi came on as a late sub just to waste time for like 2 seconds. But like I said, it's disappointing how we tied, but when you really look at it in the context of everything going on with the league and everybody else dropping points today, it's not really that bad a result. And there were enough good moments in it that makes me hopeful for the Arsenal game that I'm not too upset. I feel like a lot of Chelsea fans may be upset just because we should have won because of the Costa penalty and all of that. And I agree, but it's still, we still tied. We still held Liverpool at their place to a tie, so that's good. And on top of that, we didn't lose any points on any of the other teams aside from possibly Man City tomorrow. So I don't know. It seems like it's not as bad a result as it could have been. Especially when you take into account the fact that Liverpool had several good chances on us. It really could have been worse. We could have lost. It could have been embarrassing for us. We could have lost again to Liverpool. So I don't know. Just looking back on it now, yes, it's disappointing the result. Yes, it's disappointing how the result happened. But we're still 8 points clear of second place. Still got Arsenal, so we should do okay there. Not that it's going to be an easy game. I'm not saying, oh yeah, we've got them easy. I like to make fun of them, but no, it will be a difficult game. But it's at home. We're on a good run right now. They're capitulating time and time again, so I like our odds, and I hope we can continue with the same intensity that we saw for moments throughout this game. I hope we can take that into our stadium and really just be like, oh, 3-0 for you first half of the season? We're going to one-up you 4-0. I want 4-0. So anyway, those are my thoughts on today's game. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Who's your man of the match? Who's your worst man of the match? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.